Hi, good morning.
Hello.
How are you?
Good. That worked out okay?
Yes, yes, I can hear you
Oh,
perfectly.
perfect.
All right, I'm so happy we are doing this. You are an inspiration, not just for me, but everybody in the MS community.
Oh, thank
And
you.
I'm so happy to have you here. I wanted to talk about MS Living Proof. That was
Sure.
the documentary I discovered probably like a year after I was diagnosed. And it was still like very fresh. And when I started watching it, honestly, I was like, after 10 minutes, I almost turned it off. And I was like, I just can't go through the whole thing. It was just so scary.
Right.
Um, but I got through and it was amazing. And I know you are working or already maybe finished the second one.
Working. Working on it right now. If you look around my office, it's a disaster here because I'm working on it right now.
Okay. Can you tell us more?
Yeah, Living Proof 2 starts off. It starts off right kind of where Living Proof 1 ended. Um, so that's our goal is to make a movie that just feels like you've stepped in. It keeps going. Um, and then we go out into what happened after the movie came out, and we go all over the world, and we find other people's stories that are people are doing fantastic, and we share them, people who've recovered and that kind of thing, and then we also get in more into what can be done in the future and how are we helping other populations of people who are really struggling with disability.
Yeah. That's amazing. It's you've been living with MS 27 years
Yeah,
now?
it's 27 years now. So,
Wow. How do you handle every day?
oh, it's, it's if you watch the movie and I try to post. I'm not so great on Instagram and these things lately because I've been so busy, but I try to live as disciplined a life as possible. And adhering to the scientific-based strategies we share on a daily basis, which I know is a challenge, and I think we definitely discussed that in the second movie. But I try to my best to embody that.
Okay, yes, I read it somewhere on your website that diet, vitamin D, and
Mhm.
discipline is the three things that you live by every day.
Yeah, and I think and exercise, and I try to share with people, how to maintain such a strict diet, exercise, and supplement regime. It's not easy, and I think I'm not shy or naive to that for people, and so I try my best to offer resources and inspiration so people can also, if they want to, adapt some of those strategies into their life.
Yes, and thank you for offering your Best Bad Diet cookbook for free. That's
Hmm.
amazing.
Yeah, my
I
mom made that.
downloaded it,
Yeah.
yes. I've been following the EIP diet, kind of like the 30-day elimination, and then reintroducing. Everybody's different, so whatever works for anybody. But your diet is it's very similar. Can you please tell us what's the difference between the best bad diet and the paleo? So paleo, yeah.
I don't know to be honest, I don't know the exact differences between that. I know they're very similar. Um, but I do think that, and there are a couple other MS diets that are out there, but I do think that, and I just recently did a podcast with Dr. Jelinek, Overcoming Multiple Sclerosis, their podcast, and I think what the theme of that and what we're trying to do also in this movie, maybe the next, is to really focus on what are the similarities. Dairy-free, gluten-free is similar for a lot of them, not the OMS, but for most of them, low fat, low sugar, those kind of those to say tenets, I guess, of the diets seem to be key, especially the dairy piece.
Yes. Can you please tell us more about it? I have two children. One of them is 3, the other one is 16 months old.
Oh, so you're
And
busy.
it's so hard, yes. But it's so hard to be dairy free with them. I am pretty good, other than sometimes cheating with Parmesan cheese.
Yeah.
But for them, it's hard to keep them dairy free.
Yeah, that's going to be a struggle, and my kids are much older now, but I'll tell you, and they obviously, at times they had ice cream, and but for the majority of it, they stayed very disciplined. I think my kids overall probably had like 2 or 3 glasses of milk their whole life, and both of and I'm not boasting this, but both of them are top tier athletes, incredibly strong, at the age they are. So it is challenging in those first few years, and there's no doubt. There's no doubt. But I think as they get older, it does get easier because they can start to see a difference. And even yesterday, I was talking with my daughter. We were saying that, she's at the age now where she can see the difference now, not only for her own health, but, watching other parents and, trying to maintain certain health outcomes, she can see that there's a difference.
Yeah, that's amazing. I have a few questions. I don't know if you have time to just some from after I posted this interview or this schedule, some of my followers. One of them is asking, do you have any type of flare-ups or MS-like symptoms?
No.
That's amazing.
No, I mean that's really the journey. I mean, the one thing I have struggled with over the years is fatigue. I've also said I don't know if that's MS related or just being in my my 40s with 2 kids and 2 dogs and a life, right? And I try to share strategies I've done to overcome that and been quite successful. But no, I don't have any MS flares.
That's amazing. I felt so great for the last probably 12 months. And then the other day I started having like really bad leg pain, and it's 4 years for me, so it's not new because I get over the first initial like hopelessness, but it's still like I'm questioning whether it's MS or something else. I feel better today. I kind of increased my vitamin D intake, but it's just so hard to kind of navigate and not like reach the phone and call your neurologist.
Well, I mean, I think you ask a really good question that, are certain things MS or are they something different? And I shared a story in the past where I experienced a neck injury, but those symptoms manifested like an MS symptom would manifest. So the question, I always wonder, like, well, what would happen had I gone to one neurologist versus another? Right? Like, I don't know. I was lucky I did find one who assessed my neck, and I got this neck issue and how I dealt with it. And I think also too for people, it's important to, I don't keep a journal, but really keep an eye on where you're at, what foods you've eaten, what you've done, what you've exposed yourself to. Have you had a virus? Have you been sick lately? Like all these types of things are going to impact your illness. And so that's where it really comes into monitoring yourself. And that's over 27 years. I've just become very, very good at it. I wake up if I feel tired, well, I shouldn't have eaten that, and I shouldn't have, can I reduce this, and that kind of thing. And as I've gotten older, it's gotten stricter.
Yeah.
So
I noticed like it's not happening 2 hours later. It happens like a few days later, and then you're all confused because you don't know what you did wrong.
Right. And I think that's where the journal comes in, of trying to map what you ate and when and that kind of thing.
I actually have a journal, and because I couldn't find any on the market, I actually made a journal. And it's a lot of work, to be honest. Like the whole routine and getting up in the morning, and just in the beginning, it's kind of a reminder that you have MS, but after you get in a routine, it's kind of get easier, I think, right?
And you're at a very, from my experience, so I can't speak to all people, when you have young kids, it's a lot of work. I mean, that's it's an incredible amount of work. And I think, I've lived through that. And so, our family, we're trying to develop another cookbook, which is going to be more geared towards people at that stage in their life. This one, is geared, but this one's to be specifically geared. So it's like, you've got to make kids lunches and snacks.
Yes, by the way, can you make a cookbook that is for moms, how to feed their children?
Yeah, that's exactly right.
I'm struggling.
Yeah, that's exactly what we want to do. And that's going to be kind of the goal of, that last goal. And the other cookbook my mom made is great, and then it also answers a lot of those questions. But this one's going to be very specific. How do you do it? How do we get through it?
Okay. Sounds exciting. Yes. I heard in one of your interviews that you said, don't live in hope, which it's kind of like stuck to me because it's a powerful statement.
Yeah. I mean, I think hope it's a double-edged sword, in my opinion. I think you need hope, but you can't stay there too long. And I think that's what we try to do with MS Hope, is that you go to the webpage, you're hopeful because you can see people. Hopefully, I've added more people now who are doing great. And then it's really about action. So, you've got to do it. The person watching this, if you're interested, it's what you do that is going to transform your life and make the changes that you may be looking for. But if you hope it's going to happen, I don't know. I mean, that doesn't seem to be the way forward. You've got to put that hope into action. And
If you
that's,
do meditation and visualization, that can be
yeah,
part of hope, but yeah, that educating yourself and what to do the next step, I think that's more important also.
exactly. And education, I think you made a great point. It's the more you learn about why these strategies are going to help you, the better. So, I mean, probably in the next, say, few days, either Monday or Tuesday, or probably Tuesday or Wednesday, I'm going to be releasing a document, and it's going to be called something like the 14 top scientific studies to give to your doctor or family when they say diet and vitamin D has nothing to do with MS.
Do
So
you
it's
think
going
they're
to be,
actually going to spend time to read it? Like,
well, I'm just going to give it to people because I get so many people, oh, my neurologist, I'm like, fine, here's the top 14 scientific studies. If you don't, you don't want to read them, fine. And, just give people something in their arsenal of,
do you still see neurologists and do you still
no,
do like 6 months MRIs and all this?
no,
No.
no, no. I mean, for me, there's no correlation between the number of lesions you have and disability. So, the outcome that I'm worried about is disability. I don't care how many lesions I have. And so I could have 1,000 lesions right now and be doing marathons and running around like I am, or I could have 3 lesions and I could be in big trouble.
Yeah.
So the outcome of the number of lesions I have means nothing to me. I mean, I get it means something to the system, and I'm not judging that, but to me, my outcome is disability and learning how many lesions I may have at a certain time, because they'll come and go, means nothing to me.
Okay. No, that makes sense. And you just have to you just kind of like listening to your body and take it from there, like how you feel day by day, kind of.
Yeah, yeah, because I mean, what's an MRI going to tell me, right? And if you want a drug, which again, I'm not anti-drugs whatsoever. It's people have to make their own decisions. And that system is based up to get your MRI, figure out how many lesions you have, discuss that, and then look at the whole menu of drug options and that type of thing. And I totally get that. And I hope people have good outcomes of that. It's up to them. But for me, that hasn't been the case.
Yeah, somebody asked me when is my next MRI, and I'm like, the last one I did was because I had fear. I was scared that something is going on. But then once I went and I get the results, there was nothing going on, but the whole 2 weeks leading up to the MRI and then the appointment and going to the appointment, I was just so stressed out.
Mm,
I think that caused me more anxiety and more stress and made me feel worse than
right.
just
Yeah.
skipping the whole process, kind of.
Yeah, I can understand that. And that's why, I haven't had an MRI for MS in this century.
Okay, that's great.
And I'm not alone. I mean, there's other people like me too.
Yeah. How do we find out about those other people?
Oh, definitely just go on my MS Hope Facebook. I mean, that's all you got to do. Just do a post. Just start reading the post underneath, or there's an MS Hope group on Facebook as well.
Okay.
And also, when you see the next film, we're going to have lots of testimonials and people sharing their journeys. And
Okay. I'm looking forward to. Who is your inspiration?
ooh, that's a very good question. Um, wow. I mean, for me, I guess Dr. George Jelinek would be one of the most inspiring people for me, in terms of MS.
He wrote, he wrote the Overcoming MS, right? It's a
Yeah,
really big book. I had to actually
yeah,
listen to the audio.
yeah. For me, that I guess he's in his 70s now, but he really shows me that what can happen if you stay disciplined. And I've met him in real life, and that was one of the most profound days of my life. And to see his health and vitality at his age, that's where I want to be at 70. And I think for me, seeing that in the flesh and watching him and the way he is, that's, that's what I want to be. So
Yeah.
I kind of, he's still going strong.
That- That's great. Somebody is asking or wants to know more information about the CSSVI treatment or any
Yeah.
updates if you have.
Yeah, that's very challenging to be able to get your jugular veins checked. It's very hard to do that in North America. I think there's one clinic that I know of that's doing it. It's in Ohio. But there's also a place in Rome you can get checked as well. But right now it's a slow process.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And let me see. How do you handle like down moments when I guess you've been living with MS for 27 years, so that's
Hmm.
what would your advice be to somebody who has like down moments and doesn't know how to handle the whole diagnosis and unknown?
Well, there's two things. One, I think people have to find other people who've done really well. So whether it's me or somebody else, I mean, there's lots of people out there. I mean, people have their own websites, and what you're doing, sharing on Instagram, you have to find these people, and see what they're doing. And I think actually seeing that other person, and learning what the blueprint is to how they got there is really important. And then for anybody who's in that one moment, my advice is do something now. Like, go do something. And either that's exercise, or, make a choice to like have something to eat that's along in the anti-inflammatory principles, or even something as simple as, go help somebody else.
Yeah,
I think that's the key, I think, is to get outside of yourself when you start getting down on yourself. And
yeah,
the fastest way to do that is go help someone else. Go find somebody who needs help. And if you live in a city, it's not too hard to do that. You
yeah,
know,
yeah.
we can all make that choice to step out and actually make the world a better place. And then that, in turn, will, help your life.
Yeah, yeah. And just going for a walk, like it does like amazing things.
That's a great point. I agree with you. Just that's, for a lot of people, that's not an easy thing to do. And I think people need to understand that and just, go do something, get moving.
Yeah, yeah. Are you working on anything else right now other than finishing Living Proof 2? When is the launch?
I'm hoping that will be in fall of 2023.
Okay.
But yeah, I guess I'm like anybody else. I have a job. Like, it's volunteer work for me, the MS stuff. So it's, I've got a job like anybody else and trying to maintain my life.
Yeah. Mm. Okay. I also read on your website that you're doing so much for the MS community, so thank you. And I saw you have a free Zoom meetings
Yeah.
every month
Hmm.
on Tuesday, right?
Yeah. So the first Tuesday of every month, my dad and I host an hour where we just do Q&A, and we answer as many questions as we possibly can. We get through a lot. Those have been really effective. And we've been able to reach, thousands of people that way all over the world. I'm doing a speaking event for the first time in years next weekend in Regina, Saskatchewan in Canada. So hopefully that's going to maybe launch more speaking tours, but those are becoming more challenging these days.
Mm. Okay. Thank you so much for your time today. I hope we answered some questions here. Oh, hold on, I just got one. Oh, somebody's asking what's going on the fall. Living Proof 2, the documentary is coming out.
Yep.
On Amazon, or is it going to be available on
Yeah,
Netflix?
I don't know. I don't know. We'll decide. We'll figure that out when the time comes.
Okay, yes. Uh, Living Proof 1 is on Amazon Prime if anybody wants to watch it or whoever didn't watch it yet. Oh, okay. Thank you so much. It was so
Okay.
nice chatting with you. Hopefully we can do this more
Okay.
another
Thank
time.
you. Okay. Stay
Thank you. Have a
strong.
good weekend.
Okay. You too. Bye.
You too.